Round one is in the books. We'll recap it right now. Welcome to the Tie Show for April 23rd, 2020. First round of the NFL draft has come and gone. There was a little bit of surprise, but not much. Surprisingly, worked out pretty well. Didn't feel like we were in a quarantine situation at all. It wasn't any different. It felt like it was just a regular draft. So, all in all, good job to the NFL for continuing this. It worked out really well. And as a Charger fan, I am super excited. As a Browns fan, I'm super excited. It was a good night for me. For some other teams, we'll talk about that. Let's start the recap. Of course, going number one to the Bengals was Joe Burrow out of LSU. Not a. I understand this pick. Yes, Joe Burrow won the Heisman last year, won the national championship, probably had one of the best college football seasons ever for a quarterback. But I don't think that Joe Burrow fits with the Bengals. I understand they had to do it. He's the best quarterback on the board. I would have took him number one. But he's not the best player in this draft. I can't say that this is going to correlate to a good season for the Bengals either. I still think they're going to be a bottom dweller of the league, and I don't think Joe Burrow just fixes it all of a sudden because he's there. All in all, it's the right pick. I don't think the Bengals had any other choice here. Number two, Redskins. Probably the best player in this draft. Let's be honest here. This guy's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. In 2 to 3 years, this guy's going to be up there with Aaron Donald. He's going to be up there with Khalil Mack. This guy's going to be a monster. Remember the name Chase Young. Chase Young, defensive end out of Ohio State. In most drafts, probably would go number one. But there was a guy named Joe Burrow here, this one. So, for that reason, Chase Young goes to the Redskins. Redskins get a complete steal here. We'll see how the new Redskins offense and defense works with Rod Rivera there. Does Kyle Allen take over the starting job or Dwayne Haskins? We'll figure all that out. But yeah, right now 1, 2, and 3 kind of stayed exactly where we were thinking. The Lions, there was rumor of them making a trade today. Didn't make a trade. They went with Jeff Okudah, as I was saying yesterday, corner out of Ohio State. Good pickup for them. Matt Patricia loves his defensive guy. He's got the best corner in this draft. Replaced Darius Slay, went to the Eagles. Good draft pick by the Lions. 4 is where we get our first mess about the draft. The Giants take Andrew Thomas, the O tackle out of Georgia. First off, if I'm the Giants, I'm taking Isaiah Simmons here. But okay, you wanted to go with an offensive tackle. Go with the best one in the draft. Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa is the best offensive tackle. If not Tristan Wirfs, you go with Jedrick Willis Jr. out of Bama. Didn't go with either one. They went with Andrew Thomas, who we brought up yesterday, has some blocking issues. He showed some weaknesses. But of course, the Giants, being the Giants, picked him number 4. I also thought it was funny that David Gettleman, the GM, is sitting there with a mask on at his computer. You do you. You do you, Giants. You do you. 5, the Dolphins. It sounded like all week that they were going to go with Herbert. They liked Herbert. They weren't going to pick Tua. They were just trying to trick us all. As the Dolphins take their franchise quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. I know I said that wrong. In any other draft class, he'd be the number 1 QB. Tua is amazing. As a Charger fan, I kind of wanted him, but there is the risk of injuries there. He's never finished a fully healthy season. But with the Dolphins, I think you have the purpose to take a risk here because you do have Josh Rosen. Yes, I know Josh Rosen hadn't done anything in his first 2 years, but he also hasn't been able to sit behind a good quarterback yet. He's young. You could still progress Rosen. If Tua comes in, gets hurt, you still have Josh Rosen there. You could come in and be a solid quarterback. They both develop together. You get 2 really good quarterbacks, hopefully, if you're the Dolphins, and you build your franchise with that. As we saw later, they do have 3 first-round picks. They get some good pieces at the end of the draft, too, but we'll get to that later. Now we go to my Chargers. 6th pick in the draft. They take my boy Justin Herbert out of Oregon. I'm excited for this. Out of all the quarterbacks in this draft, Herbert was the one I wanted for the Chargers. I think he fits the system good. He's a complete opposite of Philip Rivers, as he's a mobile quarterback. We haven't had a mobile quarterback in forever. Do I think he starts week 1? No, I think Tyrod Taylor still has the job. But if Tyrod does not play good, Justin Herbert's waiting there. You give Tyrod a season, Herbert could come in next year and be the quarterback. Let him sit behind Tyrod for a year. I mean, we saw this with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield sat behind Tyrod for the first 4 or 5 games. I still don't think Tyrod should have been benched for Baker, and I'm sitting here wearing a Baker Mayfield jersey. But I mean, Tyrod's been through this situation before. He's gonna fight for his job, and I think that's what I love about Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert in this situation. I'm perfectly fine with what Herbert does. Also, what the Chargers do later in the draft has me really excited, but we'll get to that later. 7, the Panthers. Again, I would have took Isaiah Simmons here, but they go ahead and take Derek Brown out of Auburn, the defensive tackle. I have no problems with this pick at all. I think Derek Brown is the best defensive tackle in this draft by far. I think Derek Brown will be a monster. I watched him in Auburn this year. The man was unstoppable. Panthers got a really good pick up there. The Cardinals go out and surprise everyone. Looked like they were going to take an offensive lineman. They pass on that. There was rumors of Kyler Murray wanting Ceedee Lamb. They pass on that. They go with Isaiah Simmons. I don't blame them at all. Take the best player available. In my opinion, the second best player in this draft in Isaiah Simmons. The man could play any position on defense. We saw that with Clemson last year. He could play slot corner, he could play safety, he could play linebacker, he could play edge rusher. The man can do a little bit of everything. Cardinals got a complete steal here with Isaiah Simmons. We go to 9. Jaguars take C.J. Henderson, corner out of Florida. They needed somebody to replace A.J. Bouye. C.J. Henderson was the second best corner on the board. Good pickup by the Jaguars. 10. The Browns, as we said, we needed an offensive lineman to protect Baker Mayfield. What do they go do? Jedrick Willis Jr., second best offensive tackle in the draft. They snag him. Not mad at it at all. As much as I wanted Tristan Wirfs, I'm fine with Jedrick Willis Jr. So, good pickup for him. For the Browns, they did a really good job in the first round. I'll give them an A minus because I wanted Tristan Wirfs, but still an A. Jets, who I've been predicting CeeDee Lamb to go to all week. I was kind of hoping, but I did switch this up last night to Mikael Beachum, and this is who they take. Mikael Beachum, the offensive tackle out of Louisville. They're trying to get some more protection for Sam Darnold. Don't blame him at all. It's a little fishy with the drug test at the combine, but brush that under the rug for a little bit. We'll figure out that when it comes to it. He's big boy though. Should be able to protect Sam Darnold really well. We'll see how that works out for the Jets. The Raiders then go take the first wide receiver off the board and Henry Ruggs the third. I think this is a typical Al Davis / John Gruden pickup where they pass on the top 2 receivers in Jeudy and Ceedee and take the guy who looks the best speed wise. Not the best wide receiver in this draft class, but the fastest. There's a thing that they say speed kills. People want speed. There's rumors of the Chiefs wanting to trade up for Henry Ruggs. The teams wanted Henry Ruggs just for his speed, and the Raiders show this, taking him at 12 as the number 1 receiver off the board, even though he was the number 2 receiver at Alabama and the number 1 guy is still in this draft. At this point, Buccaneers trade up with 49ers. They switch spots. I think they threw it a 4th to the 49ers, and the 49ers threw it a 7th to the Buccaneers. A pointless trade for both teams after what they took, because I don't think the 49ers were taking an offensive tackle, which the Buccaneers take Tristan Wirfs, which is scary to think that Tristan Wirfs was projected to go number 4, and he ends up in Tampa Bay protecting Tom Brady now. Good job, Tampa Bay. And the 49ers at 14 take Javon Kinlaw, who I don't mind because you're going to replace DeForest Buckner, but why'd you make the trade? The Buccaneers weren't going to take... You had the pick. Take Javon Kinlaw. And the Buccaneers, who I don't know why they did the trade either because the 49ers weren't taking Tristan Wirfs, they still get their people. I don't know. The 49ers pick plays in later when they make another trade, which is very questionable to me, but we'll move to that. 15, the Broncos finally take a wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy, off the board. I'm okay with this, being that I am a Charger fan. I didn't really want CeeDee Lamb in my division. So Jerry Jeudy is going to be scary with that Broncos defense. He also made a TikTok with Roger Goodell, and it's pretty funny if you can find it. It's trending right now, so it should be pretty easy to find. But it's hilarious. Roger Goodell in his basement did a really good job of hosting this, as they did the ad where you can boo the commissioner and Bud Light will donate $1, and then he'd go to like the Zoom video of all the fans cheering. He'd be like, "Come on, boo, boo, boo!" Or he's doing the skull chant with the Vikings. fans. He's always doing something with the fans, and I really appreciate that with Roger Goodell to give it his full effort. And also, before we go any further, since we're halfway through, just want to make sure if you do have some spare money, go donate it to NFL.com/relief. They're doing a huge NFL draft-a-thon, donating all the money to COVID-19 research workers and to people who are devastated by the disease. And it was a really good charity and thing that the NFL's doing, putting this draft on and being able to donate to those people who absolutely need it. And yes, they're trying to bring you some happiness in a time that there really hasn't been anything. As I was saying yesterday, this is our first live sporting event in a month and a half. And I was so excited for this. I sat there from 7 to almost 11:30 and I didn't leave my spot because it was sports. Like I was intrigued. I was fully developed in it. And it was 32 people getting their name called out. And yeah, I donated a little bit of money to the charity. If you guys can too, please do it. It's for a good cause, and I appreciate everything that the NFL is doing in this time, bringing us this content. And it's my way of saying thank you to the NFL for doing this, and to those people who are really devastated and need it that are getting it. So I appreciate everything that they're doing. Um, we move on. The 16th pick, the Falcons take AJ Terrell, the corner, out of Clemson. Another good defensive player for Falcons. Good pickup for them. I don't have any problems with it at all. This is where it gets interesting. At this point, you're probably wondering, where's Ceedee Lamb? I was thinking the same thing watching this live. I'm surprised the 49ers didn't take a wide receiver. I wanted the Buccaneers to take Ceedee. They didn't do it. Knew the Falcons weren't going to take him. And I knew he was going to land here. Everyone was telling me, no, 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 he's not going to end up in Dallas. Jerry Jones won't pick him. Jerry Jones won't pick him. Sure enough, pops up on the screen, Jerry Jones all giddy, rubbing his hands together in his evil villain lair, it looked like. You see him call Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's face lights up because they know they just got the number one receiver in the draft to fall to them at 17. And this is a steal for the Cowboys. Yes, they need some defensive help. They lost Byron Jones. They lost a lot of players on defense this year. But you know what else they lost? Randall Cobb. Michael Gallup isn't a number two receiver. You have to put somebody on the other side of Amari Cooper to make the Cowboys a legitimate threat on offense. So now you add Ceedee Lamb, who's being compared to DeAndre Hopkins. Amari Cooper, Ceedee Lamb, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, if you re-sign him. Big key. The offense is set now. You have Michael Gallup in your third spot. Like, I love this pickup for the Cowboys. Absolutely love it. I see people trashing it, saying that they needed defense. It wasn't the best pickup. They couldn't pass on this. They've been waiting for a player like Ceedee Lamb. I don't think people understand how good Ceedee Lamb is. Clearly, you can see right here. I'm a diehard OU fan. I watched Ceedee Lamb for 3 years. This guy's probably the best receiver I've ever seen in OU, and I've seen people like Sterling Shepard. I've seen people like D.D. Westbrook. I've seen people like Ryan Broyles. You can name the wide receivers that come out of OU. There's a long list of them. Kenny Stills, Malcolm Kelly. Ceedee Lamb's the best one I've ever seen. Marquise Brown. There was something different about Ceedee Lamb. And I think the Cowboys got a complete steal. And I'm not a huge Cowboy fan. I wouldn't even call myself a Cowboys fan. But I don't mind supporting the Cowboys. As I live in Oklahoma, they are the closest team to me. I get Cowboy games on all the time. It's kind of hard not to root for the Cowboys around here. But they're also so easy to make fun of. It's a team that, yeah, it's run by Jerry Jones. They're kind of a joke in the NFL. But this may change that. I think Ceedee Lamb is one that's in a generation player come the wide receiver position. I think, yes, there's a ton of wide receivers in this draft class, but I think Ceedee Lamb's going to stand out from that group of people. And yes, you could say I'm an OU fan. I have my reasons, but I love this pickup for the Cowboys, even though I'm not a huge Cowboy fan. As we move on, the Dolphins then select their second first round pick. They take Austin Jackson, offensive tackle out of USC. Great pickup because they had to protect Tua. I mean, Injury-prone quarterback, better go get the best offensive lineman available so you can protect him. Good pickup for them. Then again, Al Davis and John Gruden mess it up. At 19, the Raiders, with their second first-round pick, take Damon Arnett, cornerback out of Ohio State. This man was projected to go late second round. Hey, maybe it works for him, but I don't see it working for the Raiders. There was a lot better corners available on the board, and I don't know what they're doing. But you do you, Raiders. I guess you are the Raiders for a reason. Raiders and the Giants are definitely the losers of this draft. Don't get that wrong. And Aaron Rodgers. You'll see why in a little bit. 20, the Jaguars take Kalavin Chesson, the linebacker out of LSU. Again, great pickup for them. They all love their defensive players. Chesson was amazing at LSU last year. Love the pickup all the way at 20 for the Jaguars. 21, the Eagles, as I've been calling out, I wanted Kenneth Murray to go here, but they need a wide receiver. They don't even have one, really. Alshon Jeffrey? Yeah, that's not going to cut it. They go with the surprising choice here, not taking Justin Jefferson and join with Jalen Reagor, the wide receiver out of TCU, who I talked about a little bit yesterday, going later to the Saints. He's kind of got that Ted Ginn style. But yeah, if I'm the Eagles, I'm taking Justin Jefferson here. You need a wide receiver one on that team. And Jalen Reagor is not that. He's a good slot guy. He's a good speed guy, but he's not a wide receiver one. Maybe he will work in the Eagles offense. I just don't see it working out for him. Not a great pickup for them. Also, that their division rivals got Ceedee Lamb, who the Eagles were dying to have. Couldn't get it done. Vikings at 22 then take the actual guy in Justin Jefferson, who will be a perfect replacement for Stephon Diggs. Justin Jefferson, as we talked about yesterday, tore up OU in that semifinal game. Justin Jefferson was a good wide receiver. People are just saying he was good because of Joe Burrow. I don't think this is the case. I think Justin Jefferson is going to be a great pickup for the Vikings. As I saw yesterday, I had him as my number 2 receiver off the board. He goes 20 to the Vikings. A plus for that one. And my favorite pick of the draft. This one got me so excited because my Chargers go get my boy Kenneth Murray from OU. This got me hyped. I've never had one of my favorite players on my favorite team. I almost did with Tom Brady going to the Chargers, but honestly, I'm okay with it not happening because I just don't think he fits over here. But Kenneth Murray to the Chargers, it looks like I need a new NFL jersey. This is amazing. A plus, plus, plus in my eyes. I've talked to some other Charger fans who love this pickup. This guy's going to slide into the Chargers defense and make some plays. Just be ready for that. 24, the Saints take Cesar Ruiz, the center out of Michigan. Good pickup for them. They needed another O lineman. This guy has a pretty cool story too. Um, Talking about him and his sister. I think this was him. It was either him or Austin Jackson. They both had interesting stories. I can't remember which one was which. One had bone marrow and the other one had a. I remember what Cesar Ruiz's story is. I'll get back to you guys on that tomorrow. 25, the 49ers, as I talked about earlier. Chargers, when they got Kenneth Murray, they made the trade with the Patriots, sending their second and third round pick. Patriots traded out of the first round to get some more second and third round picks. That's what moved the Chargers up, if you were wondering how they got that pick. 25, the 49ers then trade with the Vikings to move up to 25, which again, I don't understand because the 49ers only had 4 picks left in the draft. They give up 3 of those to move up to 25. So now they have this pick and 1 more. That's it, a 7th round pick. So 49ers are banking on their 2 first round picks being the only players that they had on this team, really. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, they addressed a big concern. Wide receiver out of Arizona State. They wanted N'Keal Harry last year, didn't get him because the Patriots got him. They weren't going to miss out on their Arizona State guy this year. So they got their defense tackle to replace DeForest Buckner. They got their wide receiver to replace Emmanuel Sanders. But I don't feel like this was the right choice. I feel like you could have gotten a wide receiver later on and not traded those picks away and set yourself up to maybe get some good guys in the 3rd or 4th round. But the big one of the night, 26. I was kind of projecting this at 30. They went ahead, moved up to 26. The Packers take Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State. Make the trade with the Dolphins to move up 26. I think this is signaling the end of the Rodgers era in Green Bay. Because you don't waste a first round pick on a quarterback unless you plan on starting him in the next 2 years. I know Packer fans are wanting a wide receiver here. Shows something that they're not wanting to build around Rodgers. They're building for the future. And I do think Jordan Love fits really well with the Packers. I think that was the best fit for him as a team. But yeah, it's very interesting to see what happens with the whole Rodgers thing because Rodgers not going to be happy about this. 27, the Seahawks take Jordan Brooks, linebacker out of Texas Tech. First time I think the Seahawks have made a first round pick in a long time. And they went with somebody that I don't agree with. You're talking to a guy who follows the Big 12. Yeah, Jordan Brooks is okay. He's a second or third round pick, but it's a Texas Tech defense. You know how bad Texas Tech's defense is? There's not one player on a Texas Tech defense that I would take in the first round of any NFL draft. Because it's Texas Tech. But they do take Jordan Brooks. Good luck to him. I hope he does something. But we'll see. Because this guy was still on the board. The Ravens got a steal here with Patrick Queen, the linebacker out of LSU. How do the Ravens keep getting better? They went from losing last year to the Titans to then adding Calais Campbell and now Patrick Queen. This is maddening that the Ravens are getting better after what they just did last year with Lamar Jackson. But as we learned 2 days ago, he does have the batting curse, so don't expect anything from the Ravens this year. 29, the Titans take Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Makes sense. They need somebody to protect Derrick Henry, not Ryan Tannehill, because Ryan Tannehill doesn't do anything. He just hands the ball off to Derrick Henry. But they want to pay Ryan Tannehill instead of Derrick Henry. Remember that. 30, this is where the Dolphins traded with the Packers. They have the 30th pick now, and they take Noah. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Igbin Oyanhe, the cornerback out of Auburn. They needed a corner. Kurt Herbstreit said it. So what they went with, the best corner available. I don't mind it at all for the Dolphins. Yeah, put somebody across from Byron Jones. You upgraded your offense with Tua and Austin Jackson, so why not go get somebody on the defensive side? 31, the Vikings do the same thing. Jeff Gladney, the corner out of TCU. He'll replace Xavier Rhodes. That's what they got from the 49ers pick. I don't mind this either. Now, yes, Big 12 defense, you're like, well, you just said they're bad. TCU actually has a respectable Big 12 defense. TCU, Texas, and OU this year. Don't count OU any other year, but this year had some respectable defenses. That's it. Those are the only three defenses that you can call respectable in the Big 12, though. Which comes to my final pick, as I was thinking that the Kansas City Chiefs would take defensive tackle Ross Blaylock to maybe replace Chris Jones, but it looks like they're making progress with Chris Jones because they go with a kind of surprising pick with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back out of LSU here. First running back off the board. He was projected the fourth best running back. And I didn't like it at first. I was like, why didn't they just go with a DeAndre Swift or a Jonathan Taylor or a J.K. Dobbins? But truthfully, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire fits this Chiefs system really well. If you were a fantasy football player, you might want to watch him. I think he's going to slide into that Andy Reid offense and do really well. He's a power receiving back. And with their speed back of Damian Williams, he should come in and play really well in that offense. And it's kind of scary to think that they just got better on offense. But yeah, that was our first round. Um, all in all, very interesting. I didn't have any problems with it. Raiders made some questionable decisions, but what's new? The Giants made some questionable decisions, but what's new? Dolphins actually drafted good. Congrats. Chargers, in my opinion, win the draft, but that won't come in because that's just because I'm a Charger fan. Technically, I think the Cowboys won the draft with Ceedee Lamb. But again, I'm an OU fan, so that might be biased. But yeah, we'll go into the second and third round tomorrow. As an OU fan, I'm excited to see where Jalen Hurts and Neville Gallimore goes, as I've been hyping them up a ton. Those are the two guys I expect to see that I was talking about get selected tomorrow. Um, we'll see some big names. Xavier McKinney was the big name left off the board today, the Alabama safety. There was not one safety projected. He was supposed to go like top 20. He fell out of the first round. See where he ends up, along with DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. You still have T. Higgins. I mean, there's 7 wide receivers selected in the first round, but there's still a ton. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see tomorrow. Of course, I'll give you guys an update as soon as it's over, like I did tonight. But yeah, again, if you can, NFL.com/relief, please donate. Doesn't support me in any way. I'm not a sponsor in any way. I just think it's for a good cause. And for them to put the draft on, I feel like it was only right for me to do something like that. Um, but yeah, all in all, good job, ESPN, for covering it. Good job to Roger Goodell for making it entertaining. Good job to the NFL and bringing us some joy in this dark time around us. Um, but yeah, my big winner of the draft, as I talked about, Cowboys, Chargers, and I think the Redskins. Redskins, Dolphins, Bengals, all those, the Cardinals too. There's a lot of good picks in the first round. It's a really stacked draft. The more I looked at it, like I go through it, I'm like, that guy will make an impact. That guy will make an impact. That guy will make an impact. That guy. But that's what you expect in first round picks. Now we're getting to the point in the second and third round where I'm like, I don't know if that guy makes an impact. But this first round, there's a lot of guys who will make impacts, and I'm kind of interested to see where that turns out. Oh, I'm gonna go to bed because it's almost 1 a.m. I wanted to get this up before I forgot everything in the morning. And get ready for day 2, second and third round, and then 4th through 7th on Saturday. I think, yeah, today's Friday right now. Yeah, it's Friday. Um, all in all, that's about it. I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.